Really, my greatest hope, both with this class and life in general, is to help heal our nature connection and help preserve the future sustainability for generations to come of both medicinal plant resources and also just general environmental quality. Now, thinking about geography, one big thing is this idea of climate zones. And climate zones are dependent on a number of different factors. And in particular, you have this combination of latitude and elevation that can determine what climate zone you might be living in. And this is something that is developed by the USDA. You can look up online if you're not familiar with it already. Of course, this is something that's also shifting as climate change comes in, and it'll be interesting to see how these things change over time. Like where I live in Western North Carolina is basically like being very far north, like up in Rhode Island, or even at the tops of the mountains over 6,000 feet, like being up in Vermont or Maine, are the type of plants that live there. And yet you could drive an hour away and then it's more like, or 2 hours away, it's more like going into the subtropics. Now, one of the inspirations for this class is one of my favorite classes from graduate school, which was called Biogeography with Gary Walker, represent Gary Walker. And I just became fascinated. I kind of known a little bit about this phenomenon already through various other studies, but basically the idea is that at one point in time, all across the Northern Hemisphere, there had been a collection of plants. And then as different episodes of mountain building and glaciation happened, these plants were cut off from each other. And then speciation events led to a diversification within various groups. And there are about 60 or so genera in particular that are held in these repositories, basically of Appalachia, where I live, and mainly Asia. Pretty much all of these plants, with the exception of chocolate, are wild collected, and anything that is wild collected and not cultivated, especially if it like kind of takes off, like a Goldenseal or a Black Cohosh or an Echinacea, can easily demand, potentially outstrip supply. I mentioned earlier this idea of maybe some potential common name confusion in that there is a plant called spikenard, but also jatamansi, Nardostachys jatamansi, that is not like what we tend to call spikenard in North America, which is from the Aralia genus of the Ginseng family. Or really, the family is named after Aralia. Chocolate, I think, is an example that I just have to, for my soul's need, highlight that a lot of the commercial chocolate comes from West Africa, and a lot of the people doing the work with that commercial chocolate are really working in close to slave-like conditions, and a lot of those people are children. So if you want to think about healing, once again, holistically, and chocolate is like a food group to me, it's something I almost consume daily. But at the same time, once I connected the dots, even at least 15, 16, 17 years ago, now about the method of production of that chocolate, that was one of the things that I really have moved to a place that I'm pretty much just going to consume it when it is fair trade and ideally organic